All right, back in my body and got another Kirby game to talk about. So it kind of goes without saying that Kirby's first console game was a big success. After selling about 1.75 million copies worldwide, Nintendo had another hit series under their belt, one kids and adults could easily pick up and play. And what is a game company to do once you make one successful game? You do it again! This is Kirby's Dream Land 2. Released on March 21st, 1995 in Japan and the 1st of May in the West, HAL Laboratories goes right back to the Game Boy after already making a hit on the NES. Now, for what reason they decided to go back on the Game Boy and not the NES again, or possibly the Super Nintendo? Well, I couldn't really tell you. I couldn't find a straight answer for myself, but if anybody could let me know, I'd greatly appreciate it. If I were to guess, I'd say enough kids were still playing on a Game Boy with games like Super Mario Land, Link's Awakening, the first Dream Land, or Earthworm Jim? So Sakurai, who's been seen as the director of the last two games, surprisingly was not the director of this game. Instead, that role went to Shinichi Shimomura, who, from what I can tell, has been known to direct the next mainline Kirby games up to Nightmare and Dreamland for the Game Boy Advance, and hasn't been seen since. Just looking into this guy led me to a string of internet theories of what's happened to this guy after his involvement with the Kirby series and HAL Laboratories, but this is all I could come up with. Sakurai will simply stick to producing this game alongside Shigeru Miyamoto, and also wouldn't be seen as a director of a Kirby game until Kirby's Air Ride for Nintendo GameCube. But I'll go deeper into that once I get to that game because I have a lot to talk about with that one. Now, before we get into the actual game, I want to point out something right quick. Remember in the Dreamland 1 review, I stated that I had just got a Wii U to record games with it? Well, not long before that, I picked up this game, and this was the actual reason I wanted to start reviewing Kirby games in the first place. This was my first time actually playing this game and beating it, and I needed to get my honest opinions about it before I replay it and change my mind. Now, I didn't play this game using the Anniversary Collection on the Wii U because, ew. And I felt no time was better than any to talk about this thing. This is the Super Game Boy, what the original Game Boy couldn't do in 1989. This hunk of plastic in 1994 lets you play your Game Boy games on your Super Nintendo, and it gives it color. Also, you can only play the games in what I believe is the native resolution, so no full screening this. Fret not, however. There are a lot of built-in borders to fill in the space, like this one that simulates the original Game Boy. This Cabin in the Field one, which I thought was pretty nice. Now, I could go on and on about what makes the Super Game Boy so great, but the main two reasons I wanted to bring this up was, one, this is how I recorded the game, and two, when certain games are inserted, they can have a special border made just for that game. Hell, Pokemon Gen 1 and Gen 2 had it. Kirby's Dream Land's special border shows Kirby and 3 new characters. These are Kirby's new animal buddies, Rick the hamster, Coo the owl, and Kind the fish. When beating a mid-boss, a sack will fall releasing one of the 3 animals and lets you pair up with them and wreck shit up. Rick specializes on land areas and Kirby riding on his back, while Coo takes him to the skies, and Kind the fish damn near eats Kirby, holding him in his mouth, and lets him swim in waters faster. Doesn't sound like much, but trust me, I'll get to that later. In addition to being faster transports for Kirby, they can also change up Kirby's copy abilities. Actually, let's get into that for a bit. There are only 8 copies ability in the game, 7 of which returned from the last game, besides the Rainbow Sword, which is used to defeat the final boss. I know that's very lacking in comparison, but since the first Dreamland game had no copy abilities at all, I'll take what I can get. If Kirby pairs up with one of his animal buddies with the copy ability in hand, they'll still do the already equipped move, but differently. Say for instance, if I had the Parasol and paired up with Coo will spin in a tornado fashion, making him practically invisible to destroy any enemy that comes into contact with you. Before I forget, if you beat a mid-boss with the animal friend that's supposed to be in the sack, you instead meet Gooey. This goofy looking goof will give you an extra life just because you went on your merry way, and that's his only purpose here. This won't be the last time we see Gooey in the series, so take that information as you will. In the Japanese version of the game, you can also find this girl named Chow in one of the animal bags, and doing so grants an extra 1% to your game save because she's extremely rare to find. Chow makes a return in Dreamland 3 for the Super Nintendo alongside this boy named Goku. Now wait. this ain't the same Goku. Chao and Goku both originated in the Japanese exclusive Mukashi Banashi Yuyuki on a Famicom. Ah, see, we're back to this. It was a text-based adventure game based on the Chinese novel Journey to the West, and that's all I can really say about it because I can't read Japanese and I'm getting way off track. ADHD's a bitch. In the international versions though, they replaced Chao with a female GUI who serves no different purpose than to give that 1 extra % for completion, just like Chao. So now that we've gotten to see the new faces, how about we actually talk about what's happening in this story? We return back to peaceful dreamland where the grass is green, the sun is shining, and nothing bad could ever happen. Oh, who am I kidding? The rainbow bridge that's connected to the other islands together have somehow gone missing thanks to dark matter stealing the rainbows. No, seriously, how? The game doesn't explain this and I really want to know or see how it does this. Think of the leprechauns! Dark matter is this evil being that simply is. It wants destruction by simply disconnecting the islands and possession as we later see in the game, but besides that, for a new antagonist, I feel the lack of a strong motive kinda weak? I know I'm probably asking a lot for a kid's game, but for someone familiar with the later Kirby games as a child, and at the very least flabbergasted by what brings some sort of terror, I'm left wanting a little more with my bad guy, especially since someone like Nightmare, who just straight up steals people's dreams and corrupts people. If you played the last 2 games, then you should feel no different here. Kirby plays exactly as he did before, even with less copy abilities than an adventure. Kirby and friends must make it to the end of each stage, deal with various mooks, deal with DDD again for some reason, and finally Dark Matter himself. Our heroes traveled through 7 worlds: Grasslands, Big Forest, Ripple Field, Iceberg, Red Canyon, Cloudy Park, and Dark Castle. Now gameplay and structure are once again nothing new from what we've seen besides aesthetics and music, which I will say has some jamming tracks, but probably less memorable than Dreamland 1 and Adventure. So playing the game is fun in and of itself, with the new animal friends and copy abilities at your disposal, and you once again can just play it as if you don't have either, but why the hell would you do that? Now with that being said, there is never a good game without its bad, or the very least complications. Firstly, let's get down to that completion percentage. Similar to Adventure, going out your way and looking for hidden goodies will lead you to these MacGuffins. These are rainbow drops, and while collecting them are completely optional, it's mandatory for 100% in the game. There's only 1 in each world, and getting some of these can be very complicated. I won't stress on why for the sake of my sanity, but Red Canyon, Cloudy Park, and Dark Castle's rainbow drops can fucking kiss my ass! And until typing up this review, I didn't realize that getting these were required for the good ending. Allow me to explain. See, when you get to the end of Dark Castle and you meet DDD, who starts attacking you for some reason, and he's aggressive. About as aggressive as he was in the last game, but he wasn't a challenge for me. If you didn't get all the rainbow drops, this is where the game just ends. Kirby and friends walk in the rain with the enemy roll call and the biggest "wait, who the fuck is that?" feeling, with such a depressing scene and music to really remind you that you're not done. Yeah, you beat up DDD, but for once he did nothing wrong. Do better! If you do get all the rainbow drops like I spent some time doing, fuck you Cloudy Park, all the collected MacGuffins come together and form the Rainbow Sword. And then, and only then, does Dark Matter reveal itself. Now for my second biggest problem with this game. Fuck this boss. Remember how much I said Nightmare gave me a lot of shit in Adventure, getting me to my last life before I got him down? This son of a bitch gave me so much shit, it took me more than an hour to beat not 1, but 2 forms. And if you fuck up the second part, you gotta do the first form all over again. And this is on original hardware, people. I didn't play this on a Switch. No save states, no rewinds, none of that shit. And I had to go in this bitch raw and dealt with the consequences. Use protection, you sick bastards! Now before I forget, I know I said that Dark Matter had a lack of a strong motive, but in 1995, a book translated to the latest Kirby of the Stars encyclopedia, which notes that Dark Matter was just a lonely soul and attacks Dreamland because everyone there has a friend and he doesn't. Man, get that Grinch shit out of here. I think it's very obvious why no one wants to be his fucking friend. So if and when you manage to beat Dark Matter both times, the game ends proper with Kirby propelling back to land with the Rainbow Sword and restoring the bridges. A more fulfilling note to end on as opposed to not fighting Dark Matter, but honestly a part of me wish I just didn't. Unlike the last game though, just getting the hidden stuff may get the better ending but does not complete the whole game. That's where the bonus chance games come in. Oh boy. After beating the game, you gotta revisit all bosses you fought in the last 6 worlds and collect all the stars for a perfect performance and an extra life. But I got up to the 3rd boss and called it quits from there. I was drained after Dark Matter at this point. I just wanted to move on. Sorry, Gooey, but I'll see you next game. Did I enjoy this game? Yes, I did. Would I consider this a better sequel? Yes. Is it more iconic than the prior games? No. While I did enjoy most of what the game had to offer besides what was required for completion on all 3 games so far, I think the other 2 really hit it closer to home for me. Maybe it's just because I only beat the game once and Dark Matter left a really sour note on my overall playthrough, which may not be fair, I admit, but I'll let time tell when I decide to pick this game up again and see how my skills fare then. At the same time, the music, while pleasant on the ears and definitely catchy, I feel also was less iconic than what Dreamland 1 brought. Not to put down Hirokazu Ando and Tadashi Ikigami, the music producers of the game, but you know what I mean. And that is it for Kirby's Dream Land 2. I'm also going to be taking a break from Kirby games for a bit because I've been in a big mood to talk about another series. So starting next week, we're going to be jumping into the Zelda franchise just for a little bit, and then I'm going to be hopping back into Kirby games. So until then, stay awesome, stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.